Where's my glasses? Holy shit.
Shut up. This is content. What are you doing?
A4 page.
All right, so we all wrote notes, yeah? You wrote notes on a page? On paper?
On paper with a pen?
What are you doing?
Actually,
Such
no.
a gross old man.
I was looking for my ink jar and my little old-fashioned what's it, like the feather thing that people used to
A
quill.
A quill, a little feather thing.
Yeah, I couldn't find it, so a pen would have to do, you know. Listen,
That old feather thing.
Are you guys ready? By the way, we can just go.
I'm good. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yo, all right, everybody. Hello there. This is this. Oh God, who is this? I'm Seb. I'm from the Spooky Memes. I can hear an echo. Echo.
Wait, no, that's me. Wait, that's definitely me. Hold on. Yeah, no, wait, hold up. I have everything really loud. That's not me. Right, wait, test it again.
Hello.
Is there still echo?
Yeah.
Echo.
Oh my fucking God, what's going on? Man? It just decides now is like, oh yeah, let's do an echo now. Okay, wait, what about now?
Hello.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Well, it's coming down, though. It's improving.
We've just been playing Helldivers. No background issues at all.
Nah, this was totally fine.
Is it me?
Fine.
Is it me then? Am I the problem?
It's not me because I think of myself. I can barely hear you guys. So
am I Taylor Swift? Am I the problem? It's me.
Hello. Oh,
there we go.
There we go.
Okay,
is that
Got
it?
it.
That should be good.
Is that it? Hello.
I can hear everybody. We're all good.
Hello. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello there.
Right, I'm gonna get a picture up as well. Actually, do you know of Night of
Ben? It has to be a Ben.
It's gonna be Ben.
Oh wait. I was gonna do Johnny. I'm gonna get Johnny then.
I can hear the pages turning.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Okay.
Wait, are you drawing a picture of Johnny?
I might. No, it'll take up too much time. No, I'll just Google it. Just Google it. You know, Google's my friend. Google images.
Anybody checking this out? Check out the podcast on Blockbuster. We'll be doing
All right, I got a good picture of Ben.
I'm Sebastian. I'm with Bex. I'm with Stevel. Hello.
Hello.
Hey guys. We're gonna talk movies.
We're gonna talk movies.
This is the Movie Something podcast, and we've not thought of a name yet.
No, it's a work in progress.
Put it in the comments. Name suggestions. We want all of them.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Okay.
Like, as long as it's better than what I came up with. God, that was rough.
What did you come up with?
What was it?
We had reels. The word reel was in there somewhere.
Oh,
there
God.
was
The movie buffs, the buff bros.
Yeah, the buff round table bros. You know, like the horror homie.
Horror homies podcast.
Horror homies. This is we're going to talk Night of the Living Dead. You know? Yes, that's what we're going to talk today. We've all went and did our homework. We've all watched it.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a shitload of notes, guys. You guys shitload?
Yeah, I have so many random points just written about.
All right, well, let's just get into it first. You know, I'm called the Spooky Memes on Twitch, right?
Uh-huh.
Whenever I think of the word spooky, the opening shot of this movie comes to mind. Yeah. Creepy music, black and white, build up of tension. The car's going down these bendy roads. They get to the graveyard, and it's like a brother trying to creep his sister out. Like, what's more creepy than that, you know?
I even think the title card is really, really nicely done as well. Like the credits rolls through, and then the way that the music is just built up, and the title card just comes in. It's just so good.
It's like you immediately know once like you said, Seb, the car coming into shot, just like driving up the windy dirt road, and like just that's I was meaning to look up afterwards like who composed the score, because it just all through the movie. Somewhere. It's so effective.
It is fantastic.
William Luce. His name was William Luce.
William Luce.
I also looked it up. None of the music is original for the movie. It all belongs to some weird movie like Teenagers from Outer Space, and they used it because it was free.
I didn't think it would be like composed for this movie, you know, because this movie's been done on quite a cheap budget. You know what it's called? All right. Sorry. Before we get ahead of ourselves, history, our own personal history with the movie. When did you guys first hear about it? I'll watch it.
I'll let you go with it first, Steve, if you want.
I remember kind of my introduction to this kind of like franchise was obviously Dawn of the Dead. And then, like, kind of backtracking, I found out then that, Night of the Living Dead was remade. What was it? Was it in 85? Was that Tom Savini's
90s, I think? I think it was 90.
Or
90.
Or it could be 95 then. I remember just seeing
it was
either
90.
like or 90. And I remember just kind of finding out, oh, like, holy shit, there's a whole kind of like library of movies before the one that I seen that's story for another day. But it was the early 2000s when I found out about the original here, the 1968 one. And it was all like, for a while it was always on my to watch list. And it's like only for this like situation here with the three of us, it was a great kind of reason to go back and rewatch it, But I've known about it for like 20 years now.
I'm always looking for a reason to go back and watch this movie. Mm-hmm. I watch it like every year.
It's so dope.
My history is I was off school sick, right? When I was younger, I used to get tonsillitis all the time, and watching like post-apocalypse movies would always make me feel better about myself. And one day, Night of the Living Dead, I found a copy of that. I was watching it. I'm like, this is awesome. There's guts and there's shotguns and there's badass characters. And then it was showing again like a year later, and I'm like, I'm going to watch this again. And it's suddenly in black and white, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on? All the actors look different. It's not exactly how I remember it. And I'd seen the Tom Savini version previously, so then I was like, okay, all right, and it's still great. And this is the version I come back to all the time. I love it.
My history is very different than both of yours. While I was in secondary school or high school or whatever you guys call it when you're in your teenagers, one of my history projects was to look into the civil rights movement, and I decided to deep dive into it for my final exams. So while I was doing all of my deep dive and my research, this movie came up as like a pivotal moment in the civil rights movement in America. So I was like, you know what? I like horror and I've never actually seen it, so I'm going to watch it. And when I watched it for the first time, I was like, I don't really understand it. But the more I looked into it while I was studying school, I kind of was like, oh, I can see the points of why people brought this movie into the civil rights, why they talked about it, why it was so important, especially with the main actor who Dwayne Jones is his name.
Dwayne Jones.
Mm-hmm. Everything to do with him was like so important. So even in my final exam for school, I even talked, like most of it was about the important parts of the civil rights movement. And I was like, I have to make sure to reference a horror movie in here, so we're just going to sprinkle this in here too. So that's where I ended up seeing it.
Absolutely nailed it. And that's a really interesting point about because the controversy. I remember reading up about the controversy that back when this was obviously shot and released, not the general kind of public. Now, what was kind of like, I wouldn't say probably like there was some kind of like outrage at the actor, like that you said, who just played Ben,
Dwayne Jones.
Dwayne Jones cast in the kind of like the hero role, like the titular protagonist of being a man of color. And I didn't actually like that. That took me kind of like, that caught me off guard. But then I thought about the era that was shot in, and I thought about like kind of like,
well,
movies back
there's
then.
the famous story of George Romero. I think with John Russo, both writers, they're driving to go and give this film to, I don't know, a studio or to get it out there in the theater, and they turn on the radio and Martin Luther King has been shot. Yeah, Martin Luther King Jr. And they were like, oh damn, this is going to have a real effect on how people see the movie. Spoilers for the movie at the end. Ben gets shot by a bunch of white police. God damn.
It's so bad.
Like once we get to that part, like that's just, it's just so totally bleak, that ending. But yeah, it's the fact that he was the only, obviously in the, was it the 6-7 people in the farmhouse? He's obviously the only person who is a person of color, and also he's kind of like he's kind of the leader archetype. Everyone kind of had like an archetype in the movie, and Ben's was obviously just like, right, we'll do what we need to survive. You do this.
He's the protagonist.
He is, yeah.
Another
and he's
thing,
fantastic.
Before we move on from this point, George Romero has always said that he was never written in mind as a black character. you know? He was just written as a dude, and
just a dude.
Dwayne Jones happened to be the best actor for the role, so that's why they cast him.
He absolutely smashed his his audition.
Brilliant.
Over the weekend when I was looking into it as well, I went for a walk one of the days and I had an interview one that Dwayne had done himself, and he said that even at the time when they were making the movie, there was just like racist people that would follow him home and threaten him with tire irons and everything. They're like, yeah, we do not want you in this movie. I can't remember. There was a quote. I should have written it down myself. I forgot what it was, but he literally said it was like one night he was driving home from a shoot in the middle of the film, and a truck full of just like white supremacist people were threatening him. And it was like, we don't want you here. We do not want you in this movie. Like, we want our kind in this movie, which is insane. Absolutely insane.
It's madness. And it's almost scary that was like that was like the late 60s, early 70s, when that movie probably like really kind of like made the cultural impact that it did. But like, that wasn't that long ago. You're thinking what, like 50 years ago, give or take.
Yeah, we've come a long way, and we still have a long way to go.
Exactly.
If you look at George's later movies, Land of the Dead, he actually wanted to cast a black guy to play the lead role in that, right? And the studio wouldn't let him.
Wow.
So that's that was like in the 2000s.
Yeah, that's insane.
2000s, the studio wouldn't let him. And that movie, is that John Leguizamo?
He was. Yeah. Yeah, I just remember. I have fond memories of that. I've often said now, much to like my like demise, that's somehow my favorite Romero movie.
That's your favorite Romero movie?
Yeah, and I don't understand why, because when I was sitting down to watch this again recently, obviously Night of the Living Dead, I was like, this is just true from start to finish. This movie is superior in every single way.
My favorite is Diary. And again, this is far better. And so is Dawn, and so is Day.
Dawn, Day, Diary, they all get passes. Like, a lot of people, the general consensus is like, a lot of people do not like how goofy Land is. And I totally get it. And I'm just, it was like one of the, like with the remake and with Dawn, it was one of the first ones I ever watched of the franchise. So it was, nostalgia is a hell of a thing.
Have you read The Living Dead, his novel?
No.
Okay, so there's lots of themes from Land in there that are done better because it's a book, It wasn't constrained, so I'd recommend that. I'd check that out.
Absolutely have to. Anything to just, improve on my perspective on Land, please.
Yeah. And I feel like that novel really gets a lot of his social commentary correct, and it's real interesting. It's great. I love it. It's one of my favorite books. I've been reading, not to get too off. In fact, it's not off topic. I've wrote here. Night was loosely inspired by I Am Legend, Richard Matheson's novel.
Oh wow!
And I just finished reading it. Right. It's like ghoul vampires knocking at the door, and it's about this guy at the end of the world, and he thinks he might be the last person alive. Everybody's a vampire, but they're also like, they start off mindless, the vampires, so they are quite zombie-like.
Yeah.
But where that's a solitary look at the end of the world, George's stories always have like these different types of people from different backgrounds who come together. And they either survive or fall apart in the face of disaster,
Yeah.
And
spoilers, we won't see what happens in this one, but you might.
I think we have.
yeah. I think when we're talking about Ben, being in the
out.
it might slipped out.
If you want a great
fantastic.
look at solitary emotions and an actual good kind of rendition of I Am Legend, don't check out the Will Smith movie. You can do, but The Night Eats the World,
don't.
I think that does it fantastically. That's the best. And then you've got #Alive, the weird Korean remake where instead of a musician he's a streamer.
Yeah. I wanted to watch that for so long, and then when I finally saw, I hyped it up like crazy, and then it was so disappointing.
I remember that's another weird Berenstein Bears universe where you're watching that movie and you're like, this is a remake of The Night Eats the World. What's going on here? What? I've seen this movie before, but it's just everybody looks different.
Oh man.
Oh.
What else do you have from
the plot of the movie?
Yeah.
We'll get through it.
What else do I have here?
Latent Image made the movie.
Yep.
10 mates. They all put $600 in, to get it started.
That's crazy.
That movies can be made like that. It's just a bunch of people just going, yeah, we'll just throw some money at it. We'll just get this made. That's insane.
They all had the talent, though, right? They all had the talent. They had the skills and the tenacity to actually go and do it. I was freaking out about doing this podcast.
Yeah, I look at these guys on like a budget of like $120,000 or something. They're just like, yeah, let's shoot a movie. We've got a premise here, and again, back then, like they're never referred to as zombies in the movie. They're like either ghouls, monsters, unidentified assassins. It's like it just felt like something. Could you imagine?
Flesh Eaters. That was the original title, Night of the Flesh Eaters.
See, could you imagine going out in the movies like back in the 60s and just like sitting down and watching this like unfold before your eyes? I can imagine it would have been wild.
In this that I've written on a note when we get talking about the movie and whatever and we get through it. There's one scene in this I'd love to time travel and be sat in a full cinema and see people reacting to it. Because it's unlike anything in the 60s I've ever seen. Ever. Like there's no other image I can go, oh, that's like this from that time. There's nothing. It's crazy.
It is wild watching it from our contemporary perspective. I'm 29. I've grown up with with all of these horror movies from the early 2000s for the most part. I was really big into The Grudge and just Japanese 2000s horror basically. Yeah, and we've always been surrounded by this kind of imagery. Imagine seeing this. There's nothing else like it back then. I can't even grasp at that.
As I'm gonna actually, I'm gonna shout out the rogue Zach because he made a banger. Zach, if you're listening, shout out to you. If he made a banger point the last time we were talking, and I don't know how zombies came into the conversation, but zombies before Romero kind of took hold of the franchise and really like made it his own. Stuff like that was always kind of explained through like witchcraft or like voodoo, or like this was the first time that it had been where people have died and they've rose back to not so much life, but they've reanimated and everything like that. But before then, anytime I guess the zombie kind of like term, or like in
voodoo,
in movie,
right?
Voodoo, witchcraft, like just spellcraft.
I think zombies might be the best horror like creation in terms of like a villain or a force of evil.
Yeah.
That I
think the only thing close is like possession movies. Like I think when you think about horror from especially like the 2000s, it's a whole lot of zombies and possession. Like there's a lot of zombie stuff that came from this.
And it's this movie, Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's crazy.
They're just a staples of just like they're the best. In terms of like on the big screen, just that embodiment of like relentless pursuit. They just kind of keep coming, that sort of way. They're like a great foil in pretty much in every movie that they're in. Well, bar some,
I don't think we've had anything better. You used to have mummies and vampires and
demons
and stuff like that, and then you got the zombie, and then from there everything's zombies now. George Romero, director, creator, writer, he said that through the idea of the zombie was kept alive through video games. It wasn't through movies.
Yeah.
Because so many zombie movies completely flop, right? Yeah. They don't do well in Hollywood in general. But video games, like I grew up playing Left 4 Dead, Resident Evil, that's where it's at, right? Call of Duty. Yeah. Bex, you were playing zombies the other day on the street.
Another shout out to a game that's kind of mid, but I think in its era, it was very, very popular, was Dying Light. When that first came out, everybody was playing that game. Everybody was on Dying Light.
Yep.
Even have like the undead of Red Dead Redemption. Like there's a zombies version of Cowboys.
You know what I mean? Like there's zombies for everything. That's what I love about zombies. You can put it in any time zone, any era, situation. Zombies in space, dead space. You know, it just works.
You know,
it just Shout works. Out to my personal favorite game of all time, The Last of Us. Different take on zombies, still kind of zombies. You know,
an infection. Yep. Like it just feels like a timeless quantity, and like people would say, "Oh, but it's very easy to do." You know, anyone can do a zombie movie. Well, movies over the years, some of the really shit ones. Here's looking at you. Welcome to Raccoon City. Not everyone can do it. You know, it's not like, all right, here's a script, here's a cast, let's put zombies in it. That doesn't automatically, translate to success. This movie here translates to success.
Talking about that, this movie doesn't feel bloated at all. It doesn't feel like it's missing anything. It doesn't feel like it's got too much in it, right? Like if Welcome to Raccoon City, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah.
Why is Chief Irons the hero? Why is Leon the most incompetent, inept person
ever
around?
Like, right? Quite possibly, yeah. Like,
that's just. I guess you could write that in a fun way to watch, but here you've got Ben, you've got Harry duking it out. You've got the young guy, what's he called,
Tommy, Judy, Barb.
Yeah, you got all these. Barb. Oh my! All right, should we talk about this movie? Should we get into it? Because
everybody listening. This was all the warm up. Now,
and now the discussion begins. Yeah,
we can talk about the beats of the movie, and then we can discuss them. All right, so they get to the graveyard, and Johnny is trying to freak his sister out. And my favorite line in cinema history, "They're coming to get you, Barbara."
Yeah, it's so dope.
Like, God, that's so cool. The first zombie.
Yeah.
Do we see him?
We do. In the background, you just assume he's just somebody that's probably visiting another grave. Yeah.
And then he just starts attacking Barbara. Yeah. And that's terrifying, even if you don't know it's a zombie.
No, like that's just a random guy assaulting, your sister in the cemetery. Yeah,
and unlike most other zombie media, none of these zombies are like peeling away. They look human, like they just genuinely look like they're human.
He's pretty fresh. Yeah. I've got in my notes here, Bill Heinzman. He played the cemetery ghoul, and I was watching this. Is the Japanese Blu-ray has this anniversary documentary on it, and they're like interviewing him, and he says that subconsciously he took his walk and his motions from Boris Karloff, who was acting in a movie called The Walking Dead.
Oh wow!
In 1936, and it's about a guy who gets the death penalty, and he comes back to life, and he's kind of brain dead, and it's wild that The Walking Dead inspired the first zombie in Night of the Living Dead, which then goes on to inspire the hit TV series and the comic series and the games, The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Back in the 30s, like that's crazy.
Right. And he wasn't really like a zombie back then. It's just like a brain dead character, but that was the inspiration for the first zombie.
His movement.
Yeah.
Because that's I found it very, like, he do you know the way as the movie progresses, like his movements are all kind of very erratic. They're very kind of like there's a kind of urgency there, and then obviously he doesn't. Yeah, you feel yourself without really knowing what's going on at this part of the movie. Something's there's something wrong with this guy.
Something's very off. Something's very The Living off. Dead, the novel, George's novel, really gets into, there's a chapter that opens up. You've been following a character, that character gets bitten, the next chapter, you're seeing it from that character's perspective coming back to life as a zombie.
Oh, that's dope.
And it describes the movement and the hunger and how they see and how they interact with each other. And, you know, this is the stuff that he never got to in the movies. I think he was always heading that way, but he never got to that in the movies. Just to back up a little bit, even more, you know, Johnny, they arrive at the graveyard. They're putting flowers on their father's gravestone.
Yeah.
And Johnny's like, oh, you know, save the praying for church. He's just he's so annoyed that they've driven 3 hours to get to this graveyard. The dead are already an issue.
Yeah.
Before the zombies,
it's
already
layered,
an annoyance. It's already
an inconvenience.
There we go. That's it. Yeah.
That's a dope line. Actually, I remember him complaining, and I was like, Johnny is just me at every single gathering at a cemetery. And then I was like, actually, there's deeper meaning to his dialogue. Even before we know that the zombies are an issue in the movie.
Yeah.
The dead is an issue to him. That's very clever.
That's only something I've picked up on doing my research for this movie. I love learning about movies. I'll watch a movie and I will pick up none of the nuance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's what I love to do is to deep dive into them after the fact.
Yep.
And find out all the things that I missed.
And you'd be so surprised, yeah.
Yeah, because I normally watch movies and I'm not that analytical when I'm watching them the first time. That's why I just rewatch and rewatch.
First time for the enjoyment, second time, or like rewatches then for kind of like picking up what you would have missed.
Yeah, and that can make movies worse, actually, in retrospect.
Yeah.
Most of the social commentary in movies goes over my head. I'm like, oh my God, this movie's so great. And then I learned there's like so many deep meanings. I'm trying to pick at it and learn it all for a second watch, and then it just makes the movie completely different for me.
Absolutely. And that's why a rewatch is always great, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they've done that. Barbara's being chased.
Yep.
Her running on the road.
Oh,
the shot is so like Texas Chainsaw, right?
Yeah, I made a note of that.
Did you
actually
write that?
Because it's such a good shot, and it's crazy that more and more in modern cinema you see this shot utilized less and less. And I just don't understand. Because I wrote 10-minute mark, or the tracking shot of Barb running towards the camera down the dirt road. It's so effective. It really builds the dread. And you're thinking to yourself, why can't this be done more? You're appreciating just the simple shot back then. But yeah, I felt big like TCM vibes from that.
We missed a point that I definitely need to mention. Johnny getting knocked over.
Oh yeah,
and bumping his head. Is this possibly one of the softest deaths in cinema history?
Man's got a weak skull. Yeah, man takes a little bump off the tombstone and off the headstone, and yeah, he's out for the count. I thought he was going to be knocked out.
I think that you can die from that. That can happen.
You definitely can.
Don't trip on the curb. That can happen.
Rewatch. I didn't realize that. Like my first time watching it, I was like, "Oh, he'll be the hero that comes back." Yeah. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil what's coming ahead of us. But I was like, "He's definitely coming back." Then no, poor old Johnny.
As far as he could have been knocked out and then eaten after the fact.
That's also a shout.
Yeah, that's true.
But
that's true.
I think him being dead there explains why Barbara is so fucking weird.
Yeah,
right?
That's another.
Yeah.
She is. I think she's in such shock that she's just seen her brother die right in front of her, and the world is completely changed. And I think a lot of people. I mean, me when I first watched the movie, I'm like, why is she like this?
What? Yeah.
Right? Why is she doing this? Because I watched the Tom Savini version, and Barbara's a badass, right?
Yeah.
And then you get this version of Barbara, and she's just shell shocked. She's
shell shocked, like
she can't speak. She bumps into Ben in the house where she escapes to the house, and then Ben also finds the house, and he comes in and he's asking her questions. She's just not talking.
No.
And that's an issue that George Romero said that after like watching it a lot of times, he realized that he'd fallen into the damsel in distress archetype with that, and that was never something he meant to do. So you see the rest of his movies, he's got some pretty badass women in them, Day of the Dead especially. You've got your main character, and she's just up against these two just caricatures of masculinity,
Yeah. And she just fucking straight like swinging, like she's
like an Ellen Ripley-esque character, you know. And then to go back to that iconic Barbara being chased through the woods and chased on the road in Diary of the Dead, you have George Romero kind of like taking the mick of that, where you've got the character dressed. She's in the dress and she's being chased by the mummy. And then later on, she's being chased by the zombies and she's falling over and she's like, is this what you wanted for your movie? Is this what you wanted? And she's like, fuck nice. You know? So he definitely worked on fixing his mistake there. But again, maybe it's not a mistake. You watch the movie, Barbara is shocked, right? It makes sense.
I was going to say, like, is he being a little bit harsh on himself? Because, you know, we as the audience, you know, how we're watching it and we could say, oh, well, Barbara, pull it together. Come on now. Like it's fight or flight sort of thing. Because you see how Ben takes charge. But when you put yourself in that situation, like how do you know you're not going to be the exact same as her? You know, you go to the cemetery, everything's fine. Your sibling is attacked. For all you know, they're left for dead. Left for dead.
The dead are rising.
Yeah. Oh, there's another one. Dead Rising was another one. Yeah. It's like how do we know that like we wouldn't be the exact same, if not worse than her in that situation? So I think maybe George is a little bit harsh on himself, but I can completely understand that trope of, you know, damsel in distress. He might wanted to have gotten away from it. So.
Yeah.
Well, I can completely sympathize.
Yeah. Do you guys have any more notes before we get up to Ben?
I have. Yes.
Let's see. Go on, Steve. What have you got?
You're a gentleman. The symbolism. There's a scene where Barbara's walking. I assume she's walking into the living room, right? And the camera pans to hunting trophies on the wall, and it like the music, the score just rises, and it cuts from trophy to trophy. And then it cuts back to Barb, and on like on a repeat watch, like the symbolism to me there is right. What do all of them have in common in that sequence? They're all prey. You know, it's like a deer, it's like a fox, and
this is what I love. It's her. Awesome.
Yeah, that she is also now. She's also being hunted like they were before her. So I thought that was dope, and it just. That's Seb. It's like it's a blink and you'd miss it sort of just kind of like transition. But when you think about it, then you're like, wait, actually, George has a meaning behind, because to just a regular viewer, you're thinking, well, they're just hunting trophies. They're kind of scary, you know. No one wants to see heads on walls. But for me, I was like, oh, maybe there's more to it.
There's meaning behind it.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention. Barbara's walking around and she's like kind of searching her little areas. When she gets up to the top of the stairs to the body that's lying on top of the stairs, I don't think there's a single movie that has something that grotesque in it before it. I don't think there's any movie that I can think of or any that I looked up or tried to get into my head. I was like, there's something that gross. And that's the scene that I mentioned earlier. I'd have loved to have just been sat in the front row of the cinema when that jump scare at the top of the stairs happened and the whole crowd sees that. I'd have absolutely loved to have just been sat there in 1968 watching crowds freak out, seeing something just that visually gross.
The only thing I can think of with similar impact, Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
Right? Walking up to the body and turning it, and you just see the
right.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
The very first scene of them just turn around and just jump.
That's it.
Yeah,
nuts.
It's like Beckham, great point, because for the three of us here, you know, we've watched horrors, we've watched gory movies down through like so many years. We're all kind of desensitized to it at this point. You know, nothing really shocks us anymore, maybe Terrifier or something like that. But back in the 60s, you know, when something like this might have been a bit more taboo, in like unknown to the general audience, like how would they have reacted to that? You know, now that's a really good point.
That's the scariest shot in the whole movie.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah,
it's the most gruesome.
Yep. It's visceral. It's just like it shows what really, like, what these what the ghouls are capable of. the flesh eaters, what they're capable of, literally eating
There's a
flesh
couple
off
of
the face.
shots towards the end where they're like eating organs and stuff. I think it's the fact that this is like your whole screen has this face on it for like a good 2 seconds, and you're just looking at it. There's nothing else there. It's just that.
Yeah. But it's just so effective.
They bump into Ben.
Yeah.
Ben.
He beats the shit out of them.
Yeah.
It really shows that like they're not that strong.
No.
It's when when there's a bunch of them, you're overwhelmed. Yep. But again, right from the beginning, this is the start. This is the first zombie movie, really, right?
Yep.
And you've already laid down the groundwork that everybody can understand. They're trying to eat people. It's the dead rising. It's they're pretty weak because they're dead. They don't like fire. That's something that didn't really continue very much.
No.
That is similar to I Am Legend, though. Again, they're not liking fire. And then when he kills them, he throws them out on the porch, and then he burns the body.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know if it's going to come back.
No, he doesn't.
That shit. And then that also deters other zombies. Yeah. And again, Resident Evil 1, you gotta kill it, you gotta burn the bodies, otherwise everything's gonna come back up later and fuck you up.
And in real time, as Ben is learning, you can see like the gears turning in his head as he's setting fire to the body, and he sees the rest of them kind of like back off. He's learning like as we're learning. Do you know that sort of way? That's it, yeah. It's fantastic, and he, like you said, he's beating the shit out of them. Like he has obviously encountered them by this point, whereas obviously Barb and Johnny, God rest his soul, has been they were taken completely off guard. They were caught off guard. Ben knows what he's up against, and Ben
tells
knows
his story about them surrounding him at the diner.
Oh, that's such a great...
It's this amazing story of like he's looking for people to help him, and everybody's screaming, and he's surrounded, and there's zombies everywhere, and then the screams stop.
Yep, I have that written down.
And he explains how he's alone with the monsters.
Yeah, by then there were... What was his line? By then there were no more screams. I was alone, and I was just like, that's... You can imagine that whole situation, and they never show you a single part of it. It's all just from Ben's words.
And it's short as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's really short. That's all it is, because he's trying to get Barbara to talk.
Yeah.
It tells us background on how the zombies multiply, right? Yep. All of a sudden, the screams stop, and he's surrounded by these monsters. Okay, they transfer it to each other.
Yeah.
More information on how they work. And then he finally gets Barbara to freaking talk.
Yeah.
And she's weird. She speaks like an old lady.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I think she was a stage actress, you know, before doing this.
Right.
And I feel like that explains how she's doing a lot of like shout acting.
Yeah.
You know, where acting kind of used to just be you start off really quiet and you get louder and louder and louder.
Yeah, she raises the tempo.
That's what she does throughout the movie.
Especially the point when she's like, where she gets to the stage where she's begging to go out and try and find Johnny. She's basically just screaming into Ben's face at that point.
She's frantic. She's kind of just like, it's like you think for a moment as she backed her senses, like survivor's guilt has kicked in.
Yeah.
It's like, now she realizes the kind of like the situation she's whether she's fully like comprehended it, but she is aware now that things are horribly wrong.
And then Ben, he sees that she's freaking out.
Oh yeah.
And he's trying to get her to be quiet because there's zombies outside.
I've got a note here for that.
And then he punches her in the face, knocks her the fuck out.
I gasp every time I've seen this movie. It doesn't just like slap. He winds back. Fist punches her into the head.
It's ridiculous. Like, and I gasp too. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm kind of giggling here as well, but like I kind of giggle when I'm in shock, right?
Yeah, it's because you're so surprised.
It's wild. And then he puts her down gently.
Yep.
And he opens her coat to keep her cool because she was overheating.
Yep.
Like,
what the fuck?
Even for the time, if he'd open hand slapped you, like, oh my god, but he fully clocks her and puts her to sleep, and then just lies her down like it's fine. Yeah.
What are we gonna do with this crazy woman? All right, just shut her up. Right?
Yeah, just knock her out. We got to do
crazy.
it.
That is apparently Dwayne Jones had an issue with that. He was like, people are gonna kill me. They're gonna see a black man hitting a white woman, and they're gonna kill me.
Like a proper like closed fist punch as well. Yeah.
And they were, apparently George Romero. He's like, no, come on, dude. It's the '60s. Nobody cares about your race.
Oh yeah.
About that.
He's like, yeah, no, we're hippies. It's all good. Love and peace.
Yeah, we're chill. We, share the love and all that. So all good.
I kind of think at this point in the movie as well, it's really weird that happens. Like, I'm trying to think how to explain it. It's like he's really calm, he's collected, he's trying to protect the house, he's being a little bit logical about how to deal with the zombies, and then out of nowhere, the calm, collected person just goes, "No, I need to get this woman to just shut up. I need to figure it out. I need to calm my head." So clap, she has to go to sleep. Yep. I think it's so, and there's another part later on where there's another character we haven't talked about yet, where he kind of doesn't like them either, and it kind of shows a bit more. But up until this point, Ben is like, I'm taking control. I'm the leader of this. I'm making sure that this house or farmhouse is shut down. And then all of a sudden it's just like flick of a little switch, and then it's like, yeah, clap, shut up. I need to figure this out. It's just weird to me.
Go to sleep.
They lock up the place. I think we skipped a bit.
They have.
So they get in. Ben, he completely takes charge, and he's like, all right, what are we going to do first? We're going to board up the windows. You're going to find some wood. You're going to find nails. I'm going to hammer these in. You're going to help me out. We're going to do this.
Yeah.
That's Call of Duty Zombies.
Yeah. He's finding whatever he can, and he's boarding up those windows as Barb is just kind of she's just wandering around silently. Like he's tearing the kitchen apart. And he's planks on every door, every window that he can see. They
find a lot of wood in that house.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
Unnecessarily. Why are they holding it?
Yeah, he's pulling up like skirting boards. He's pulling like doors off other hinges and stuff.
It is something that I love though, because it would seem ridiculous that we managed to find enough wood to board up every window, but they show that it's actually natural, it's in the house.
It's there in the house. He's not just conjuring it out of thin air,
Like Call of Duty Zombies, just lifting it up off the floor and sticking it to the windows.
He just grabs a floating hammer and just all the windows immediately get boarded up.
I used to play Killing Floor, and back then you just weld the door. I'm welding this door, and
there's another one, another great zombie game.
Okay. Then we're about to be introduced to one of my favorite characters right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a shot of a door in the house opening, and you're thinking, is this going to be more zombies? This is scary. Somebody's already in the house. They've just spent this entire time boarding themselves in. Now there's something inside with them.
Yeah.
Harry Cooper. What a protagonist. What a hero.
Man, like Harry just like coming in immediately, just making the situation so much more volatile.
Just
the biggest hater ever.
Yeah.
Instantly tells Ben that he's insane.
Yeah.
The cellar is the safest place.
The cellar is the safest place, and I love this whole. Does that come here? Or the dialogue I think comes much later, but what they're talking about the cellar and everything like that. But yeah, immediately there's just there's a clash of interests here.
Ben asks why the fuck people are in the cellar and they weren't helping.
Yeah.
And you get Harry saying how he could barely hear, but then also saying that he heard enough that he thought there was zombies all over the place.
Yeah, he got himself caught out in a little lie.
And rightly so. Ben then figures out the type of person he is.
Yep.
Straight away. This is Ben, who we'll discuss whether we all think he was right or not at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He is good at figuring people out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
God, Harry Cooper's so great.
Logically speaking, if you were in this situation, in this exact spot, would you have gone down into the cellar, or would you have been happy sitting up at the top?
You want to get into that now?
I kind of like it's in my head now that we're talking about. If you were in there?
Okay. Well, let's imagine the three of us now. We're in that room during that argument.
With the whole gang that's there, all of our cast, and the three of us are just sprinkled in on top of it. Would you follow down not knowing what's about to come ahead of us, or would you have stayed in the house on the top, boarding everything up?
I would probably do what Ben does, but I would also try and barricade the stairs. Try wipe out the stairs, and you go upstairs, right?
Upstairs.
Yeah,
and that's what I would try and do, because the idea of putting myself down in the cellar where you'd be surrounded if they broke through the door, which, you know, spoilers for later, they don't. He's fine. That was the right idea.
Yep.
They should. That's what I mean. Ben was wrong. Harry was right the whole time. Harry was right.
Yep. He was like, for me personally, I'm a serial coward, so I'm going straight to the attic. So I'm not even getting.
That's where you go. The attic's good.
I'm not even getting involved in Mr. Cooper and Ben's discussion. But you always kind of want. For me, I'd be like, you always want an escape plan, you know, and you know the way Cooper Harry was downstairs. Are we introduced to his? No, we're not introduced to. Oh, him and Tommy, yeah. And right now, we think it's just them two until Harry mentions the little girl.
So,
but yeah, I can absolutely see both sides of it.
Yeah, and that's why it's so great.
Yeah, what makes Harry probably more antagonistic than Ben is Harry doesn't seem to be super open to reason. But then Ben isn't either, so you can't say like really Harry.
Clash of these egos. It's just Ben is a more likable character, right?
Yeah.
Harry comes out, but also Harry's got his wife and child down in the basement.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's been more protective of family, where Ben's been protective of himself.
Yeah.
He's hiding them down there, and he's doing what he can to protect them. Where Ben is just, I'm surviving. It's me. I'm living up here.
Yeah.
Harry also seems to have. He's your classic short angry man archetype. He comes out kicking and screaming.
Yeah, little bald businessman archetype. Yeah,
very George Costanza. You know.
Yeah.
The guy who played him.
He was a real life businessman. I'm pretty sure, wasn't he? I think he was.
Him and oh my god, I wrote
they
their
worked
names
on the movie.
down. I wrote that. Yeah, they put the money in. They also used to have their own. They had their own radio show.
That's
what they were doing, like us.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
And they were married in real life, Harry and his wife.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
Right.
Helen was his wife. Yeah, they were married IRL, and I think that was his daughter IRL as well, if I'm not mistaken. I could be absolutely.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
I could be waffling.
To do with that one.
Maybe I don't know about that one.
Wait, I'm definitely not looking it up right this second. Nope. We'll move on to the next point, so we don't dwell on it.
No, while you're doing that, I don't know.
Sorry, Carl Hardman. That's his name, and Marilyn Eastman. There's the husband and wife duo, the Coopers.
And Kyra Sean as Karen Cooper. Hardman's daughter in real life, 9-year-old Shun, also portrayed the mangled corpse on the house upstairs floor that Ben drags away.
Whoa, okay. Well, while we're talking about people who also portrayed, these characters, you have the Harry's wife, who I've instantly forgot her name, Marilyn Eastman. Played double duty. She was one of the zombies in the horde later on that's eating the bug in the tree.
It is. Yeah.
Oh wow,
and that scene.
And she also did the makeup. She did the zombie makeup too.
That's
because it's such a small production team. Everybody put money in, so everybody had a stake in it. They're just doing everything.
Yep,
they're just doing all the roles, and that is independent movie making right there.
Coming together to make sure it just succeeds. Everyone double pulling,
and that's miraculous that the movie is as good as it is for such a small budget. But it's also all of these people who think it could have devolved into arguments. I know whenever I've had to try and share management with a bunch of people, it's,
well, lads, we've got one episode of the podcast.
Let's see how this ages. Let's see how this ages right here. Hey guys, my favorite character is Harry, the short little angry man who
and everyone else's opinions are wrong. Harry's the king. We love our short kings.
You've got okay, so they come out, arguments ensue. we find out that there's more people in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We've got his
Ben asks,
wife.
why the fuck didn't they help?
We're introduced.
Judy and Tom.
Tom
first.
Tommy's up there with Harry, and then Judy and Helen and the little girl is below.
I've
we're
got in my
introduced to
notes
them.
that they were called Tom and Jerry. That must have been.
I had the same. Yeah, that's perfect.
I'm changing my notes right now. Where's my quill? But it's the divide. Then you're kind of given these Ben and Harry aren't going to see eye to eye in that moment, so it's best if they stay up there. Harry goes.
You've got Ben and Harry, but then you've got Tom in between them.
Yeah. Who's trying to play peacemaker?
He's the peacemaker.
Nice guy. Yeah, this really nice guy, and he's so swole.
Yeah.
He's acting like a little unit.
In real crazy. Life, he was like a weightlifter. He became a chiropractor afterwards because he just really obviously cared about health. Keith Wayne, and it's just so swole. I just can't get over it every time I'm looking at him because I'm just not used to seeing such a small, stocky, but also really swole dude in movies in this time period. And he almost talks like Robin in Batman.
Yeah. I actually had that role. I was like, feels really like old Robin from Adam West.
Exactly,
Batman.
Right?
He's always very formal. He always refers to Harry as Mr. Cooper and everything like that,
Yeah.
And he's always trying to calm down the old man.
You almost have the idea that these pair do know each other, but they don't. It's just they met in this situation, and he's already that. Kind
of joined.
Yeah.
Joined up.
Then you've got Judy, played by Judith Ridley, and I love it when actors' names are given to the characters.
Yeah, it's just like, what's your name, Judith? You can play Judy.
Yeah, it's Alicia in Fear the Walking Dead, played by Alicia Devon Carter.
Judith Ridley originally actually auditioned for the role of Barbara. But George was like, we're going to give you a role. We want to give you a role, but we're going to give you like a kind of less intense speaking role.
The Judy is a better character, although there's not too much character for either of them, really, compared to the men.
Yeah. But compared to Ben and Harry.
She does have a very nice moment later on, a very heartfelt moment. We'll get to that when we get to it,
But they go their separate ways. What
I've got written here, Helen and Harry Cooper are having marital issues.
Well, they are because when Helen finds out that the radio's on upstairs, she's like, right, I'm out too. I'm going to leave you down here with the kid. And again, we're aware that the kid is sick. We don't know why or what has happened to the kid yet. So it's a nice.
I kind of find it really weird how nobody knows that like what's wrong with her, but nobody also wants to stay down there. Like everybody kind of just keeps coming upstairs. They keep switching, but nobody actually wants to like just stay.
Yeah.
Like neither her mother or father, like, oh yeah, we'll be down here. Don't worry, we're taking care of our daughter. No, they're like, oh, we're coming up.
Later when Judy goes to help out, she's like, do I have to? I don't want to go stand with the dying kid down there.
Yeah, I don't want to go sit next to the kid.
That has become a trope since, though. The unknown bite victim, right?
Yep.
You've got quarantine or wreck, with the kid who is like, the mother's like, no, she just got tonsillitis, and then she bites later on. This happens all the time, somebody hiding the bite. Although in this movie, it's not really that it's hidden. Because they don't know how it spreads. So it's not
I think the movie explains it to you slow enough that you're not instantly going, oh, she's definitely been. Like the movie's telling you slowly through the radio and the TV broadcast of exactly what's happened. So you're just, oh, she's sick. If you didn't know zombie media straight up, if you're watching this, it's like, oh, she's just sick or she got injured while she's out. The movie explains more and more what's actually happening downstairs, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Like every so often we're given just in the background, you can hear the radio transmission or the TV and you're getting little snippets, but you can't really focus on what is being said on the relay because of everything that's going on, like front and center with the characters,
That radio transmission, by the way, is again Carl Hardman, Harry Cooper,
so dope.
because
That's cool.
he did radio. Him and his wife, they did radio together. So just bring these skills in.
Yeah, he's
and use them, right?
Like, and it only enhances the story, and it just gives that more exposition. Because I never the way propaganda back then as well, there was like a lot of fear mongering that would go on. So like originally they say that it's radioactive probes on Venus that blew up, or it's just a group of unidentified assassins. It's just like radios will have to like relay what they think it is, no matter how crazy it may sound to us. But back then it was a very real thing.
George, has he said in multiple interviews that I've seen that he's always been inspired by the news.
Yeah.
So whenever he's writing a script, whenever he would be writing a script, he would have like CNN on in the background.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see it in like most of his work. In Diary of the Dead, it starts with like the news report, and then the reporters getting bitten, and then Diary is about how the characters get their news out into the world, into the internet. You've got the Living Dead, his book, which follows a bunch of news anchors for a certain part of the book, which is super cool. The face is the best, by the way. When you read that, the face is awesome. You got Dawn of the Dead, which shows the guy from the Crazies is freaking out and is like telling the public that how to kill these things, and he keeps cutting to him on the news and it's freaking out. It's just dope. It's
such a useful tool, and again, it just feel like just movies nowadays are just not going the simple route of, getting us clued in. Like, I know it's you could say it's a case of, right, you don't want to give everything away. So like, it's like it's almost like, like feeding them like little crumbs, but
you call it a tool. I think it's a very smart tool. The movie takes place inside of this house. How are you going to show the outside world?
Exactly.
How are you going to show what you want to show that this is worldwide?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the radio's on, the TV's on. We're seeing the guys in DC how they're dealing with this.
It's a wonderfully effective tool, and tool in only the positive senses. Because you get the broadcasts, you get like the chat, or not like the radio presenter. He's popping up with updates, and then obviously the radio. Because our bubble, like outside of that house, we're blind. We're completely oblivious.
Exactly.
So it's another one. It's another tool that I don't think is used enough in movies now. In kind of like an apocalypse themed kind of movies.
They would just cut away.
Yeah,
they would just cut away rather than.
I
mean, in lots of movies, there's a lot of great movies out there. There's a lot of shit movies out there. So people should learn from this, though.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, so you've got. Oh, there's a scene where they. Just to go back to when Harry comes up the stairs, he's instantly pointing out about how flimsy Ben's work is on the windows. Yeah. And in that shot, there's a window that has not been boarded up.
Oh.
I didn't even notice that.
I always notice that. It's just a window that's just there. And they're just screaming, there. And Ben's talking about how great he's done, and like...
Oh, Ben! Rear Ben L.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So then, is it one of them gets pulled through the window?
Yes.
They shoot through a window, right?
Yeah.
And we established that headshot. Kill, because they try and shoot him multiple times, doesn't work.
Yeah, they hit one guy, isn't it, twice in the chest, and they have to tap him in the head, and it kills him.
Yeah, and is that the first time we, as the audience, it's revealed to us that just regular damage to the body has no effect?
Because
that's it.
The TV broadcast of the posse shooting all the zombies isn't until after this. Ben is the first one to show us that you have to shoot him in the head.
Yeah, like Ben. Yeah, Tommy's there with the kitchen knife, and he's cutting off the fingers at the window, and like there's not even a scream.
All of these zombie rules. How many years ago was this? 68. So like like almost 60 years later are still being used, right?
Yeah, like destroy the brain,
it's
destroy
wild.
the ghouls. But I love that. Even then, there's when Ben is grabbed, there's just another rise of that insane score as he's grabbed, and it's just like the jump scare nearly almost gets me every time I watch it, because it's obviously after the argument. There's a bit of a come down, and then it's a little bit more kind of like quiet again, and then just that scene is fantastic.
All right. They then decide, Ben and Tom decide that they're going to go out to the van and try and get some petrol for it, some gas.
Yeah.
Because they've got a truck, but it's got no fuel. There's a petrol pump at this old barn house, because that's a thing in America, I suppose, right?
And it was shown to us earlier.
It was shown to us, yeah.
She kind of rests on it for a moment.
So their plan is to try and get to this petrol pump so they can fill up the truck, and then they can all escape.
Yeah.
And they decide to let Harry be the guy who stays in the house. Yeah. And he throws the Molotov cocktails from the window to try and distract the zombies.
Yeah.
If you're Ben, how are you going to let Harry be the one to to stay in the house? He's going to lock you out.
Yeah, on the lead up to that scene, there's another kind of discussion about who's going to do what. And at this point in my notes, I actually had just a little thing I wrote down, which was Ben fire line counter, because he just started hitting Harry with just truth after truth after truth. And he just there's one line here, if you're stupid enough to go die in that trap, that's your business. However, I'm not stupid enough to follow you. That's a banger line.
Apparently, that was, I believe it was that speech that he made there was when Dwayne Jones finally felt comfortable in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Comfortable that he wasn't being exploited.
Yeah.
That this was a real movie.
Yeah.
Because
you can see the confidence almost just grow.
You can see it grow in the character, but because it was growing in him.
In him.
And afterwards, apparently, he was very all of a sudden, everybody connected, and they're hanging out afterwards, and they're buying each other drinks, and they're having a great time laughing, and just really happy together. The whole cast and crew, everybody seems to love working with George Romero. I've never heard a bad thing. I mean, bad things could come out. Bad things always do. But George Romero seems like a very personable, down-to-earth person.
Yeah.
Personable person. And, and people just seem to want to be around him. They orbit around him. The right people orbit around him in his movies, at least the first three.
And I feel it's no coincidence that he had the successful career he had, and he has the acclaim, and kind of he's revered as obviously the grandfather of zombies. I hope I haven't fucked that up. The
grandfather, the godfather? Yeah.
The godfather, yeah. It's there's just a reason he was able to do this for so long.
We call his career successful. If you watch interviews with him, he never felt like he was as successful as he should have been. The Living Dead opens with because it came out after he died, so there was another writer, I forgot his name, it's maybe Daniel Krauss, maybe Strauss, I'm really bad with names. He writes down all of the projects of George Romero that never got made.
Wow.
And it's like 100, all these things that just fell to the wayside. And so many of them are projects with Stephen King that for whatever reason didn't get made. He was supposed to make the original It movies, I'm pretty sure, right? He was supposed to do Resident Evil. Imagine. Wow. Imagine. We've got that. George he made a trailer for Resident Evil 2, and it's incredible. Yeah. It's so dope.
Trailer, great. It's so fucking good. Imagine what that would have been like. Imagine a whole movie series, George A. Romero, Resident Evils.
Instead of what we fucking got.
We really are.
We still are. We're still getting shit Resident Evil movies. Welcome to
man, make it stop. But it's glorious, and it's sad, it's poignant in a way that he'll probably never And maybe hopefully towards the end he might have realized, once some of these movies rightfully got the acclaim and the respect they deserved, it only took like 30, 40 years. But my God, yeah, like a lot of, I would say a lot, if not the majority, probably of his movies now are well received. But it's mad that the man himself, going off interviews and stuff, probably thought that, he might like if they were liked all that much.
He could have. He always wanted to do more. Yeah. Right until the end, you can see in all the interviews, he wanted to do more, and he was worried the biggest villain in his life, he said, was time.
Honestly.
Oh,
I think it's crazy though, because like even if he's after sitting and he says that he thinks he hasn't done enough before he died, without him, nothing we've had ever in our lifetime zombies would even exist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder if there's a part of him before he did pass that just realizes, like, look, I didn't get to do it, but look what I created. Like, look at the
living dead
layers
is
and
his
layers
lasting
of everything.
legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, look at the generations it has literally formed. Like, it's shaped in terms of like movie enjoyers, like zombie fans.
Like there's no game, TV show, or movie where if you pointed at something, you go, that's like George A. Romero. You could, like, every single thing that zombies were like, you could literally go, that's like this. That's like that George did.
His influence is everywhere. Yeah, in that genre, like which is an incredible legacy to have.
Do you want to get back? Should we get back to the
where are we?
We were okay.
The truck. Yeah.
All right.
Truck,
this is some dumb shit. Okay. Before we get to the truck, Tom and Judy, they have this talk about how Tom explains how he's got to be the one to go out and get the truck, and they have a nice moment together, and that's some lovely acting. This. You see that they care for each other a lot. And then Judy decides, I'm going for the truck as well.
Yeah.
Tom, I wrote here, Tom fucking sprays gasoline all over the truck while trying to fill it next to the torch that Ben made. So the side of the truck catches fire.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, I for this whole sequence, I have two lines of notes. It's Judy, what the fuck? And Tom, you absolute moron.
I have it written. These are the first two. I don't know now. Anybody could correct me if you want to. These are the first two characters to do the cliche horror trope of idiots doing idiot things, because there's not a single moment there that anything is logical. The rest of the movie is great for logic. Yeah. This 5 minutes of spray the car like you're washing it in gasoline, and then it goes.
I did have a moment in Left 4 Dead where I'm filling the car that's in the mall, and I'm grabbing the gasoline canister, and one of my friends is trying to shoot a zombie, and he shoots it in my hand, and everything just sets on fire and blows up. So I guess this kind of shit can happen, right? And you're under pressure, you're in distress. I don't know how old-timey gas pumps work. It doesn't look like he's holding it. It just kind of, maybe it's all coming out. But
he's swinging it like a garden hose.
Then Tom goes, we need to get the truck away from the gas pipe. They leave Ben there.
Yeah.
He's by himself, surrounded by zombies.
Yeah, they just stranded him. Yeah, they just left him there, no cover.
They blow the fuck up.
But before that, you get your classic, oh my God, I can't get out, my jacket is stuck in the belt kind of thing. It was like, no way.
Judy gets stuck on the chair or the window or the door or something, and Tom goes back, and then boom.
Oh,
and you're like, whoa, okay, they're just dead.
They're just, they're gone. Like, they're stakes out. They're the first, besides Johnny, God bless him, these are the first two casualties, like the major casualties of the established kind of cast now we had in the farmhouse. So, like, now you're realizing,
any of these guys could die. This is
at any moment.
Yeah,
for such a cheap movie, the explosion actually looks really, really good.
Because it's a real explosion.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
They blew up a truck. They had two trucks that looked the same, where they blew one of them up, I think.
I think it's really good, though. Like, to go out there with that little amount of money and do something like that is just crazy.
Something that I don't see commented on very often is, this movie is called Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
It's shot almost entirely at night. You have the graveyard scene that's during the day. The black and white... being in black and white and it's shot at night you just see the darkness fully contrasted with the white of the explosion of the flames.
Oh yeah,
I adore that. And again, when you see these pale zombies walking towards the Ben through the night, and it really is scary. They're coming out of the darkness, and night is another character. You know, it's another aspect of the movie. Aspect.
It's almost like another antagonist, if you will, because there's they
need to survive till morning and hope that help will come.
And you don't know what lurks beyond the shadows.
Yeah,
you know, you're looking out there to the vast, just darkness.
If anybody decides to watch this movie after this podcast or whatever, please do not watch it colorized first. Like you're doing the movie a massive disservice.
Colorized link. Did you
did, yeah. And I just completely were like, no, I'm not watching that.
Just watch it in black and white. It's so much better.
I watched it fully in color.
I'm tempted now.
Just to see, and it's weird. Everybody's wearing weird colors. Ben is in a pink cardigan.
What?
I think it's pink or green. All of the walls are just weird colors in the house.
Yeah,
none of the colors quite go, and they all look like they've got this oozy effect to them. So I'd recommend watching it just to see.
For comparison, yeah,
but that is not the movie you should watch for the first time.
No,
not the version.
Black and white the whole way.
Black and white. It looks incredible. They had the choice to go to color.
Yeah,
but they ended up sticking with black and white, and maybe that puts people off. I don't know. I love it. But I'm a movie guy, you know.
Disclaimer. If you don't watch black and white movies, you're doing yourself a disservice because there's so many very good ones.
Everybody go and watch Ripley on Netflix. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's one of the best TV shows. One of the most beautiful TV shows I've ever seen. It's fully in black and white. I was talking to Hillary, and she's like, I wish this was in color because, you know, it looks so nice in color. And I'm like, no, you're missing the point.
No, you're missing the exactly. Point. It's a creative choice. Allow it. No.
There's a version of Godzilla -1 coming out as well that's in black and white, and I might check that out.
It's not just in black and white. They've completely rescored it and redid the sound design.
Oh, really?
Oh, sure.
I'll check it out.
I can't wait for that. God, that's another great movie.
Great movie. I need to get around to it. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that eventually.
It'd be sick.
We're just going to do movies, guys. It's going to be
talk movies. Cool. We'll get there eventually. You know, we'll get into the plot eventually. Yeah. We'll get through the movie eventually, but we'll talk movies.
All right. I've written down here. I don't know how many, by the way, take a shot every time I say that. Cooper is a little bitch and doesn't let Ben in the house.
Yeah. Which was predicted, though. Like, the minute that door closed, you knew that was going to happen.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, Ben should have known.
Like, Ben should have known, and then there is like a small moment where you can see. So Ben is like, "Let me in." Cooper's hesitant.
He's hesitant though. He does want to. There's part of him that wants to, right?
There's part of him wants to,
so
and
there's nuance to the character.
There is.
It's not just that he's some baddie.
Dickhead. Yeah,
he is human.
Like he's thinking, I've got a daughter down there and my wife. Like he's there's a morality there that he's constantly, you know, fighting with.
And to Cooper's credit, it was Ben's plan that just got these two kids killed.
Yep. Now, because he's watching the whole thing unfold as well. Cooper's watching out the window once the truck goes up and everything like that, and he's aware now that this plan that he would have never wanted to like take place in the first place has now cost two people their lives. So he's validated in a way. His mind.
Protagonist Ben kicks open the door and then beats the shit out of him.
He lays hands on him.
Oh, he did. Like lays
hands on him.
Okay, so he kicks open the door. Then the pair of them board the door together. So Cooper does help. He comes back to help.
So there is some redemption there, right?
You get the greatest death stare of all time. Yeah. When he comes back into the house and he looks straight at Cooper, it's the greatest stare of all time.
And Cooper, you know, one punch from Ben knocked Barbara the fuck out.
Yeah, Cooper
takes it.
Yeah, he takes a fucking pounding. Like he is.
Hey yo,
why did I was thinking of something real time. Like what am I going to say? What else can I say there that not make it sound weird?
A different movie?
Yeah.
I've never seen Rule 34 Night of the Living Dead, but it's got to exist, right?
It's got to exist.
Yeah.
It's quite a trip. But that's again for another episode.
That's on the Patreon, guys. Check it out.
Oh, I wrote Judy and Tom probably make a nice cooked meal for the zombies as well.
There is a scene that shows them actually just picking apart the remains, and again, just very effective.
One of the guys who worked on the movie and invested in the movie, he had like he worked at like a butcher's. He owned a butcher's or something like that. So he just brought all of these like meat and entrails for them.
Oh, nice.
I seen as well. Some of the blood was just red dye and chocolate syrup. That's all they used for blood and stuff.
See that? I'm definitely not watching.
Somewhere it was chocolate syrup. Yeah, it was.
I'd well believe it, because there is a scene actually that comes up that I think it just pans to a wall, and you look at like the residue that's on the wall, and you're thinking, right, that's some sort of syrup right there.
The black and white helps.
Yeah,
it helps a lot with this movie. If it had been shot in color, I don't think it would have aged as well. Which is weird, saying that a black and white movie aged better than a movie that's in color. It's because it hides any imperfections, and the ghouls. You see, I love Dawn of the Dead. Sometimes the zombies are blue, sometimes the zombies are grey. All of the blood looks like it's straight out of a cartoon. You know, it's like vibrant.
Yeah.
And it makes the movie almost have like a comic book effect to it. It's weird.
Yeah, it kind of takes you.
You don't have that though.
No, you don't have it. It's so simple. It's effective, and you everything. It doesn't have to be spelled out for you. You know what you're looking at. Like, and it just underneath the pale moonlight, it just makes the ghouls, the flesh eaters, all that just more kind of sinister. You know, the shadowing. Like we
have loads of shots of the ghouls eating the flesh, eating people. Once they board the door up. And I think this might be the first time we see a zombie eating another person in the cinema.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Actually, yeah.
I went looking when I'd seen the same with the dead body on the stairs. I went looking, and I genuinely couldn't find another thing. I think this is the first time zombies eat somebody on screen.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
It's like, okay, you don't have the word for it. Okay. Flesh-eating cannibals is also terrifying.
I'm equally as concerned when someone says, "Oh, there's a horde of flesh-eating cannibals outside." You know?
Yeah. Cannibals. That's terrifying too.
Yeah,
that's so scary.
Yeah. You know, and like, what was it? 10 years later, we'd actually get the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where we'd been introduced to a family of hillbilly cannibals. I think that was 78, wasn't it?
But again, I think
76.
I digress. It's as early as 76. It's a great movie, though. Great movie. Yeah. We'll do that. We'll get to that.
That one's going to be a very interesting one to talk about, because I know a lot of people that just hate that movie, not because of what's in it; they just don't like it.
Wow, that's I adore that movie, and I'm not even a big Texas guy. You know,
TCM is 74 as well.
74. Wow, 6 years later.
74. Shit,
I thought it was 78. Shit, man, I'm a fraud. Get me off.
It's early. It's early, and that was like almost the beginning of the slasher.
Yeah,
when we got into everybody.
Oh, Halloween is 78. Yeah, I don't know why I got.
It always surprises me that Halloween came after Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah,
because Halloween is like the bigger. Anyway, digress.
Before we get into a whole other movie.
Where were we again? So
the news. They hear the news.
Yes,
and there's the report. Kill the brain and you will kill the ghoul is the quote, right?
I have
Fantastic.
That line. Yeah.
It's great.
Shaun of the Dead, destroy the brain, remove the head or destroy the brain, right?
It's so good.
Goodness. It's just you see the news report, you see the police going around the sticks, using the power of gun to beat the zombies.
What was it? Were they called the posse in the movie, or did I just make that up? I think they were called. It was the sheriff and his posse.
The sheriff and his posse. They were meeting up with the National Guard later. George Romero has definitely described them as the posse before in interviews.
Yep.
Just a bunch of.
Beat them or burn them.
We're not American, as you can probably tell.
Two Australians and a Brit.
Australian.
Two Australians.
No, we're not. We're not doing this on the podcast. We are Irish on the podcast.
Let us have our heritage. Yeah, I'm declaring myself fully Irish now.
I think this TV section is kind of crazy to me. I think it's one of my favorite parts of the whole movie because it's a whole bunch of cops just going around shooting people on TV and telling people to go shoot people on TV. Yeah, I think that's insane, especially in '68.
Yeah,
when
America.
all of the civil rights is going on, there's a movie telling people that the cops are going to tell you to go shoot people. Exactly. I think that's insane.
It's just like a free for all. Like if you're armed and you want to help, just go out and shoot indiscriminately. Like, you know, and again, we'll get to that point at the very end. But yeah, they're just shooting without. They're shooting to, in their mind, get rid of the problem, and we'll see how it goes for them. But it's
this. I've only just put this together right now. After we see the news report and how the power of gun kills zombies, that's when Cooper decides that he wants the gun of Ben. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't put those two things together. Straight after seeing that's when he decides.
I have the note written here. Cooper gets power hungry after seeing the cops shooting the zombies. I just put that line written. Yeah.
That's a great spot. I actually missed that myself. But thinking back at it now, yeah, from the moment that we're introduced to Cooper and Tom with Ben has always got the gun, and Cooper never even so much as offers to, you know.
I love this, guys. I love this. This is why we do. This is why we do the podcast, right? This is it. For this moment right here. And Ben didn't come with the gun. He found it in the house.
And I think him finding the gun in the house is so cool. It's so like he just comes across it, finds a little wardrobe, like, yeah, cool. I'm taking the repeater. That's mine now. It's so well done.
And does that maybe give Ben a little bit of a, you know, kind of power surge, because he's got the tire iron, and then after he searches for the house, finds the gun, he really kind of grows then into the giving orders leader archetype.
I guess so.
You know, he has that gun now. He knows he's got the strongest weapon potentially to take care of these things. Maybe that gives him just gives him the confidence. You know, right, I'm going to survive this now.
This is why I really dislike it when you see, you know, zombie movies made over here and they've got guns. So I'm like, take that out. Yeah. Because it's very interesting in Night of the Living Dead. It's the one gun, right? And then you've got the other guys going around shooting, but the main characters have the one gun. If you take out gun, then it gets a lot more creative.
Yeah.
But this is the first one. This is the first movie. This works. It works really well.
I've said the same about a lot. Like, I know this is drifting off a little bit as well. I said the same about some of the Resident Evil games. I think they'd be a lot scarier if you didn't build it up to you shooting a lot. If you gave you a gun a lot later in the game.
The end of every Resident Evil game where you now powerhouse, you just shooting everybody down.
Yeah.
You know?
I think if they left like the game all the way into that point, then they just drop you like, oh, now you're super strong. I think it'd be a whole lot scarier. Guns in zombie media, it's like, oh, you're making it easy on the person. Like, you're handing them the one thing. Make it a little bit more difficult for the characters that are in your games or films or something.
It takes, it gives
Kingdom. You know,
oh man,
Kingdom. You talk about Kingdom.
Show. Oh,
great
I'm
show.
So sad.
It's sad. Sad. Using swords, very cool. We don't even have swords. Well, I don't have a sword. Maybe you two big weebs have swords. I don't know.
I wish. I wish. I got the Ghost of Tsushima collector's edition 4 years ago, hoping I get a sword, and all I got was like a mask. I was like, no, here's my sword, man. But yeah, it's just, but yeah, they don't. George didn't overdo it, you know, the one rifle. But nowadays, in zombie media, it's almost just guns are too plentiful, because generally, most of the time it will be set most in like the United States, so huge access to arsenal of guns. But but it's nice when guns are out of the equation, or if they have to be in the equation, limited to like one or two, you know.
Big reference to greatest English zombie movie. Just throw vinyl discs at zombies.
Vinyl discs.
Yeah. Batman soundtrack, throw it. That was the first print, but great movie. But my note here then is just the siege. Right, so as soon as you see the ghoul kind of like approach the porch for the first time, because you know every single time before that they've been kind of around the truck, they were kind of like out in the grass. but you see one of them then pick up the I suppose, what would you say,
I think it was the leg of the chair, wasn't it?
the leg of the chair that Ben had, and then
they're
just
picking up objects. The zombies are picking up objects.
So like the instinct, there's still some sort of instinct there, because even at the point at the cemetery, the first school tries to break down
he breaks the window and he picks up the brick. We've got to give him that in our Discord chat right now. And he's smashing it, and smashes through the window there.
It's just like primal kind of like cavemen instincts that they still have some kind of like grasp of. And
if we go forward to your favorite, what George does is, he's got the brain dead. They can pick up tools, and then they lose that ability, and then throughout his movies kind of parallel I Am Legend, where in I Am Legend the ghouls eventually gain some sentience. I don't know if that's the right word, but they gain their character, they gain some personality back, right?
Yeah.
And agency, and they can think again, right? And to go to your favorite movie, Land of the Dead, that's what it's about. You've got this protagonist zombie who's freeing his people. And they're using tools to do it, right?
Yeah, it's so fucking wild. Just picking up drills and fucking guns and stuff, and it's just like, maybe that's probably part of the reason, because I wasn't, when I first watched that movie, I wasn't aware that George kind of incorporated this in his other ones. I thought
when
this was
I first watched it, that's what took me out. That's what made me decide I didn't like the movie the first time I saw it. I was this is dumb. I'm like, I don't want to see zombies learning shit, right? And in general, I don't, but I do like it when George does it. You've got the previous movie to land is Day, where you have, is it called Bub or something? It's like the zombie listening to music, and he shoots a gun and stuff. And I love that. I love it when it happens there. You've got Survival of the Dead's really fucking weird. You got zombies riding horses. Have you guys seen Survival of the Dead?
No, I haven't.
I've never seen that one. No.
Oh boy,
it's weird. You have. All right, I won't talk any more about Survival of the Dead. In The Living Dead, the book again. In the background, you have all these characters who are like, when a character meets another character, they will like tell each other stories, right? Because there's no news anymore. So everybody's like, okay, how did you get here? There's one character that's collecting stories, and she's kind of like, she becomes the librarian of the apocalypse. And she keeps coming across different stories of this one zombie that people see with metal arms and metal legs traversing the landscape, and she will fire bow and arrows, and she will use her blades to slice through other zombies. And the Living Dead takes place, I think, over like 16 to 20 years. And you realize that this zombie that they've been following is a character we met in one of the first few chapters, who turned into a zombie right at the beginning. By the end of the book, she finally, the character wanted to get to her, I don't know if it's girlfriend or wife she's trying to get to, but she lives across America, right?
Oh.
So by the end of the book, it's like 16 years later, this zombie has had this one thing in mind: I need to get across America to find my wife.
It's just been, wow, yeah.
It's really beautiful, but the zombie has kind of gained its personality back.
Its agency, yeah. It's got a goal in mind.
So there is this through line in George A. Romero. He took away the character's personality only to then try and inject some back into the zombies, do something more interesting, and a lot of zombie media doesn't do that very well.
No.
I really didn't like, what was the zombie movie with the kids in the school, zombie TV series?
All of Us Are Dead.
All of Us Are Dead. I loved it. I loved them figuring out how the kids are going to survive in an apocalyptic setting, how they're going to make the use of all the school equipment to survive. But then if a main character gets bitten, they turn into a superhuman. I hate that. I hate that bullshit.
That's again season 2 is coming soon, so that might be a discussion for another time. But God. that was goofy as hell. That was one of my few complaints of that show. It was so good, but then one guy gets bitten, and now he's able to run really fast, super strong, and super durable. But it's the agency thing, I guess. Yeah, I really enjoyed it in this. I enjoyed it too much in Land of the Dead, obviously, but in this it was just done right.
Oh, just to say, I do like Land of the Dead now. I've come around to it.
I don't know how I feel about it yet. I'd have to rewatch it and get another grasp of it. I don't really like it.
Oh, I think you're gonna. Yeah, I think. Well, actually, you could surprise me. You might enjoy it. It is wild, and some bits in it are just straight up stupid. But it was one of my first ones, and it's very easy for me to be like, right. It made an impression on me back then when I was like, oh my god, they're stood at next to a giant river. Oh, and now they're just walking on the riverbed.
Through it. That's so cool. Okay. Let's get back to it. To it. So they're wrestling over the gun.
Yep.
Ben grabs it and he shoots Cooper. Doesn't even think about it. Just fucking shoots him. Right?
Yeah, he does not hesitate.
And then is Helen there? She
watches. She's literally just shocked. She doesn't even make a noise. She just stares as it's happening.
Yeah,
that's all that happens. Like, she doesn't make a noise, doesn't move. She's up. Like, I think she might be up against a window and she's just staring at it.
Then the zombies grab her. They grab her, right?
She gets grabbed. Yeah. Now, here comes my favorite shot and probably one of my favorite scenes of the movie. Not to interject. I do apologize, but yeah, she's grabbed. Barb for the first time in the whole movie now, and we're probably an hour.
I got a note here. Barbara is still in the movie.
Yeah, she makes a presence.
I have her written down as the cat lady has stopped being cat lady.
she springs to life and she saves Helen. She gets Helen away, and then she starts getting grabbed at, and then I kind of want to keep the people in suspense, but I just want to talk about it.
No, we're spoiling the movie. You can go watch it, guys. This movie is
phenomenal.
It's amazing, and you can watch it on nearly every service, and it's also public domain because when they were making the movie, it was called Night of the Flesh Eaters. Then they decided to change the name last minute, and in the new name, when it shows up on the screen, they forgot to put the copyright symbol in, so anybody could make a copy of this movie and sell it. And that really kind of ruined a lot of success that George A. Romero should have had and everybody who made the movie should have had. But where was I going? Where am I?
Nerd fact from me. Because of this being in public domain, any horror movie you watch, if there's a TV on it, there's a good chance this movie's playing on it because they just get away with doing it. Yeah. There's so many movies that Night of the Living Dead is just playing. I think there's a Halloween movie on. There's numerous horror movies. Yeah. You're going to see this on TV because they can get away with it, and it's so good. So good.
Oh yeah, I was just saying, go watch the movie. Now we're gonna really spoil the ending of this movie here, but go watch it because you can literally go on like Web Archive or whatever and just check out the movie because it's everywhere.
We're an hour and a half in, but like a recommendation for all these movies as well. Before we do these podcasts, when you see that, you should probably check them out because most of the movies we're going to talk about are great.
Are good movies.
They really are. Like you should check them out before the podcast so you can experience yourself because everybody needs to, get your own opinions on movies.
Some people don't mind spoilers though, and if this inspired anybody to go and watch it, then that's also really cool.
Yeah,
true. True. Like some people might listen to this and say, "Holy shit, that ending is wild." I actually want to go and see how it all unfolds now. You know, but to take what Beckham said there, the cat lady is she springs into action. She saves Helen.
I called her the cat lady because isn't there a shot in this where there's like a little piece on the arm of the chair and she's just there rubbing it with her hand before all this starts taking off. She's just lying there so catatonic, just playing it. I literally was just like, she's sharpening her claws. She's come into a cat.
She's just sharpening her claws on the arm.
She just that knife for a long time. That they keep leaving on the fridge or on the side or wherever. She keeps leaving that knife around.
Oh, yeah. She springs into action and then there's the reveal. There's the glove on the door. And it's the glove of her brother.
Zombies breaking through the windows or breaking through the doors, and the glove comes out, and it's there was an establishing shot of Is that what you would call an establishing shot? There's a shot that establishes that he puts his gloves on. So when the hand comes through, you know who it is.
It is.
It's her brother.
It's so.
And the graveyard ghoul is there as well, I think.
Yes,
he is.
Yeah.
So it's like we're harkening back. We've come full circle now. We're back to like two characters that we had seen in the start of the movie, haven't seen since,
reunited
at near the end of the movie, and it's my favorite. It's my favorite.
Oh, Johnny!
Yeah, and it doesn't end well for the cat lady.
It's quite a bit like in Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, where the guy gets pulled out the window.
He gets pulled out the window, and then his girlfriend runs after him. It's been done a million times since, but this was the first one. Right?
And you're thinking to yourself, right? We've lost Tommy and Judy now, and obviously Harry's just been shot.
He's still alive. He's still kicking for now.
He's still kicking now.
But now it's like the 4 characters down.
Yeah,
4 characters. I love an ensemble cast where the creatives behind the film they're willing to let characters go.
Yeah,
kill them off in a good way. The Walking Dead almost became, that became very popular because it was like anybody could die, but unless you called Rick Sanchez. No, Rick Grimes,
it makes no sense. Most of the Walking Dead's main cast should have been dead. They should have died. Yeah. I don't care. I know if you love Norman Reedus as Daryl. Daryl should have been dead at the end of the show. I've said it forever. He should have died. I'll stick by it.
Yeah, like. And Stranger Things is also quite, I know it's not zombie genre, but it's also quite guilty of just having a core.
The Max fake outs constantly. Just kill her. Just give us the impact of her dying. God damn it.
Bringing in supporting characters each and every season.
And then you've got characters who, spoilers for Stranger Things, right? 3, 2, 1. Eddie dies for no fucking reason. That pisses me off so much just because the writers wanted him dead. He decides, okay, I gotta go die now. Let me go get eaten by bats or whatever.
Bob died for no reason.
Hey, chat. Can I get a save Steve in chat? Because if he dies, I'm going to be depressed. All right. Everybody in chat, for me, if you made it this far, just say save Steve. Thank you. Because if he dies, it's the end of me. I can't recover.
Oh, have I got news for you, pal?
Maybe you're listening to this in the future and season 5 or 6 is already out and more than
if you do. If you are watching this in the future as well, sorry, I'll cut in again. Rest in peace, Bex. Put that in chat for me.
Bye, governor.
I always thought I eat a lot of shitty foods with preservatives in. I always thought I'd make a great zombie, all the preservatives, they're going to preserve me. I'm going to be really fresh looking when I turn into a zombie.
You'll be like just sprinting down the street after somebody, just like the first shot of this movie.
I'll be sweet.
It's too bad to be a zombie. I wouldn't run after anybody.
If you have some agency, even better, Seb.
Exactly.
We could turn you into one of those crawlers. Beckham, like in Left 4 Dead 2, like the little mud guys that go on all fours.
But zombie streams are coming, boys.
Guys, check us all out. We all stream, by the way, guys. We'll do our plugs at the end, but we all stream. Okay.
Yeah. Johnny comes back.
He's back and he's hungry for his sister.
Not a sentence I ever would have thought I'd say during this movie, but yeah. In the right context, absolutely.
So Barbara gets pulled out and she dies in the horde, right? That's some scary shit.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's very well done.
And then it's
bleak as fuck.
You've got Harry. He manages to make his way to the cellar.
Yep.
This is my whole favorite part of the movie. When we go into the cellar, I think it's my favorite part of the movie. I love every last second of this movie.
Do you want to take it from here, from the spot?
Yeah, I'll do it. So basically, Harry's after being shot by Ben. He starts to stumble down into the cellar where his sick daughter is. But we get a reveal because Helen runs down into the cellar and finds that their daughter has now reanimated herself and started to eat Harry.
His arm is off.
Yeah, his entire arm is just gone. Yeah. It's great. It's so good. And then the daughter just turns towards Helen, walks over. There's this scream that no matter how many times I watch this movie, the scream, the echo, the way it goes is in my head.
Wackiest death scream in movies ever.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy. What's the tool?
It's
that
a
the
trowel.
daughter picks up. It's a trowel,
yeah.
and she just starts stabbing her
Like
mother to death over and over and over and over again. And again, for a 60s movie, it's insanely graphic.
It's not one or two stabs either. It's
just constant.
Going. Yeah.
It's constant stabbing. It's so cool, but also insane.
It is
the shots are incredible.
Incredible.
I don't know why they went for that scream, but I suppose. Pardon?
It's like if I think of this movie, that scene's the first one that goes into my head. I know you both like have different. This is where it sticks to my head. Is that scream and the vision of the daughter reanimating and just stabbing her to death? It's the first thing that pops into my head, which is so. I don't know what it is. It's always been there since I've seen the movie.
It's unsettling. It's memorable.
It's also like if they'd had gone down into the basement, into the cellar.
Now we're getting into that.
If Ben had the gun, they could have killed. I don't know. Maybe you'd have a different movie. We'd have them fighting.
Yeah, we would have had a Walking Dead situation where they're like, you can't kill my son.
Yeah, we'd have a standoff situation.
So that would happen, and that has happened since. So I get inspiration from this movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Helen falls backwards, gets troweled to death by her daughter.
Yeah,
it's terrifying. The imagery is real scary. Little girls like trying to eat you or kill you is terrifying.
And whatever the way they've done her makeup as well, I think she's the best looking zombie. Like for scariest looking, I think the way her eyes are made up to look really sunken,
demonic more than zombified, right?
There's something definitely way scarier about
scream. Her. If they had built up on that, they could have definitely went a different direction in the zombie genre. I guess if I don't know how much you guys know, but in Return of the Living Dead, I believe that's Russo, the other writer for this movie. He went on and did those movies. The zombies are demonic rather than there's more of an explanation there. So maybe that is something to it. This is such a crazy franchise, guys. It splits off Night of the Living Dead, which goes into the Off the Dead franchise. Then you've got the Return of the Living Dead or Return of the Dead franchise. And then Dawn has like different splits. You've got the Italian sequel. It's so wild. It's so wild. I think Festival of the Dead just came out, which is telling everybody that it is a sequel to Night of the Living Dead, and it's dog shit.
Oh no!
So it's still happening. Maybe because it's public domain, anybody can say this podcast, guys, is a sequel to Night of the Living Dead.
That is. Oh man, yeah. We could literally just write our own screenplay for like for an actual sequel, and it won't be dog shit. Trust.
That's what this podcast is for. I'm joking.
I keep pitching our sequels. Yeah. please.
Okay, zombie daughter comes out the cellar. Tries to grab Ben, and he pushes her away.
He just throws her across. Yeah, he eats her onto the couch or across the room.
This is a grown-ass man throwing a kid across the room.
Right? Like the 60s were really wild.
Yeah. The zombies have broke into the house. Everything is fucked. They're all over the place. And then Ben is like, oh, fuck, I guess I gotta go into the cellar.
Yeah, in an ironic turn of events.
He's the one who goes into the cellar. He locks the cellar door. And
the last place he would have wanted to go.
Yeah, he runs down there and he sees the zombified Coopers down there. And he uses gun and he finishes them off.
He does,
and God, what a lonely shot, you know?
Yeah.
More inspiration, you know, another movie that's taken inspiration from this. If you've ever seen Dead Set, the Channel 4 Big Brother zombie movie, where at the very end, the final character's in the diary room and she's sitting there and the Big Brother is overran, you know?
Yep.
These kind of emotions where it's like, oh, fuck, this is it. We're all screwed. I'm dead. I was wondering if he was gonna like contemplate shooting himself.
I thought that the first time I watched it. When I first seen it, I was like, "This is the kind of movie that's given a vibe where he's going to be defeated now. He doesn't think he's going to be able to get out, and he'll do it."
And you have that in Dawn, where the character thinks about it, you know, and then he doesn't. But you've got the house overrun, and then it cuts to we're past the night. We survived the night. It's daytime.
Daylight. Yeah,
we're back to our posse.
Yeah,
a posse of dudes with guns, and they're walking through the fields,
indiscriminately just shooting everything that moves,
clearing the undead.
It is kind of cool,
and they seem to be having such a great time.
Yeah, just a couple of boys, a few cigars, a few guns. Just out for a walk. And I'm like, then I wish the movie ended. Then I wish
it really baits you in though to being like, oh, they're going to know that there's somebody in there, so they're going to save him. They're going to clear out the zombies. They do a really good job of baiting you into being like, yes, Ben made it through all of this. Yeah, he's our final guy. He's saved.
He goes upstairs to find the house empty. Looks through the window.
Oh man!
And in that moment, do you guys want to take it from here?
No, I'm too depressed. I'm too depressed.
So yeah, our boy Ben decides that he wants to peek out the window, and a sheriff tells one of the posse, get him, shoot him. There's one in there. Make sure you get it, hit it in the head, and then bang. Our boy that survived the entire movie, all of that trouble, is shot down in one bullet.
In an accident.
In an accident.
It's nihilistic.
Which is insane.
It's nihilism.
It's painful, extreme. It's nihilism to the extreme. It's hard. I have my closing notes are to fight and survive as long as he did, to end like that, and I just put damn.
And then the credits.
Yeah,
I have a lot about the credits.
The credits play, and it's almost like you're watching a snuff film now.
Yeah,
right? Things get very real.
Yeah,
you were talking, Bex, about like the social commentary. Right?
Yeah, this is where I have a lot written, because when I first watched the movie, the credits is like what stuck to me, because there's I don't know how to cover it without like I'm not entirely educated on all this, so like I wouldn't know every single detail, but there is a lot of footage in these credits that looks like lynching footage from the 60s. Which it's very difficult to look at.
These men are dragging the dead bodies on meat hooks.
Yeah.
And throwing them onto bonfires.
And they don't shy away from letting you know it's Ben that they're doing it to.
Ben
like Ben is
dragging.
everywhere. Yeah. It's rough. And again, I studied all of it, and I seen insane shit that Americans did to African American people. And watching this again, it just kind of brought it all back. I was like, this is what it was like. This is where I understand where the social comedy comes in, especially in the credits, where you see the last couple of seconds of them being dragged around, thrown onto a pile. They just set up on fire and then they just leave.
It's so impactful to have this is one of the most impactful movies in, I would say, cinema, but if you don't want to say that, you could argue, in horror, right?
I would agree. No, cinema. I said pure cinema in my notes. I was like,
you have a black man genre as your protagonist in the 60s.
Yeah.
Against what, it's an independent movie, but like it's still a huge movie, right?
Yep.
It's not a Hollywood production, but it's still a huge movie. And then he gets shot by a bunch of white guys at the end and killed after all of the struggles, after all of the hardship. Yeah. It's heartbreaking. It's as, George Romero, he studied at art school. I did art school. I was very nihilistic when I was younger as well. You're edgy teens in your early 20s and you just fuck the world. It's shouts of that. And in his later movies, he definitely added a lot more hope to them. In the finales. But just wow. Just the impact, right?
I think it's not even that. I think I wish a lot more modern horror movies kind of ended with the bang and they're dead kind of ending that this gives you. There's no, like, there's a lot of movies there's a lot of movies to go with the, your hero made it out at the end after the whole fight, and then you're just like, but they wouldn't though. Like, this goes completely on the opposite, where it's like they should, like Ben should have made it out of the house.
Anybody
Ben
could just die,
Yeah. There's no fear of killing anybody. Now in movies it's like, we have this top Hollywood actor that's in our movie now. We're not going to kill them because know this actor, you know their character.
We can't kill them because we need to make the sequel. Right?
Yeah.
And we need them on the posters. We need to advertise their presence.
We need to, Ben comes back for Night of the Living Dead 2, right?
Robo Ben.
Yeah.
A movie that I don't know if I like or not. Rogue One, I definitely have enjoyed it, but the more I think about it, the less I like it. I love Andor. I love Star Wars all the time, but they all die at the end.
Yep.
I not to deep dive into Star Wars. I think Rogue One is probably one of the better Star Wars projects we've got since
it's
the
definitely
prequels.
The best Disney movie.
Or not the prequels, the originals.
I would say so, definitely. But anyway, they all die at the end, right? And this is again the cast wipeout.
Yep,
it's a very brave thing to do. Wipe out the entire cast.
Not enough. Yeah, not enough. Movies, directors, writers will do that because. And I said in this situation, like of this movie, sometimes there is no happy outcomes. There is no. Sometimes life is like that. The nihilistic view again. That people will say Ben deserved to live, and I agree with that after how hard he fought. Well, he didn't then in the end. It's real, and it's just like it's like a harsh kind of reality of it. That.
And Ben,
the credits
in a way,
rough.
he was completely wrong.
Yeah.
He was completely wrong. We were speaking about this a bit earlier, but if they'd went into the cellar, they probably would have all been okay.
Like the most they would have had to deal with down in the cellar at the beginning is the daughter. And they'd have had an argument. You maybe would have booted somebody upstairs to deal with the zombies, but overall, most of that gang probably would have survived if they decided to go downstairs.
Yep. Because even if they didn't want to kill the daughter, like if Harry was so against it, obviously Harry and Helen, like, all right, well, we have to move her upstairs then. Sorry, but all right, put her outside. There could be a way that you could have probably.
Or they just tie her up and they don't kill her. She's just there, down there until the police come and then they'll shoot her in the morning. That's how
the big posse comes and they all just pop her gets firing squad. But. It's such an effective ending.
It stays with you.
It's so wonderfully bleak because it's a reminder that not every movie that has a hero or like a protagonist, it's not always going to have an outcome that you're expecting or you're wanting.
Yeah.
And when they do kind of like subvert your expectations of where it goes, it's all the more effective. It stays with you, like I said.
Not every horror movie needs an Ash William or a Laurie Strode.
No.
Like, you know what I mean? You don't need it. Sometimes you just need to clear out a house.
Ben could have became one of these characters, right?
Yeah.
I think I have it written here as like a PS note at the bottom. I think there's a lot of Ash Williams, like reference in Ash Williams from Ben. I think. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot, like, again, big Evil Dead head here, blah, 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 blah. I think there's a lot taken from Ben that's put into Ash's, especially Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 1 Ash's wimpy little boy, but Evil Dead 2's Ash before he goes crazy. There's a lot of Ben in him, I think.
And that talks more about just how influential this movie is across not just horror genres, like zombie movies, like just across things in general. Like just character tropes, personality traits. It's all good stuff. And as good as of a protagonist he was, he didn't get to survive the movie.
I love a closed book in a movie. I really dislike open-ended. Open-ended stuff is good. Some cliffhangers you can make it work if you're a good enough writer, right?
Hatred of cliffhangers is showing.
God damn it, I hate cliffhangers.
Most of the time, I'll agree. Cliffhangers are kind of dead because you're going to get another movie out of it. This person's going to survive through.
In modern cinema and modern television, it's because they're hoping that if we leave a cliffhanger, then the studio's going to have to give us another movie, right?
Yeah. We can turn this into a franchise.
So many times that just doesn't happen, so you're just left on a cliffhanger.
Or when it does, it doesn't deserve it. Like there's a lot of movies that feed a cliffhanger, and then when another one comes out, it's like you could have done that all in one movie.
That's true.
Like you could have just cut out half of what you had to make it into one.
You've blown it for just the hopes of just
I'm saying it.
Yeah,
the modern It movies could have been done in a 3-hour long movie.
Yeah,
I hate It Part 2. We will be talking about it at some point.
Okay.
But
it's got the George A. Romero connection. He was supposed to.
I don't care. Chapter 2 stinks.
It's relevant. It's relevant.
It was super sequel bait, but I would have loved to seen what he could have done with the '90s miniseries. Would have been fantastic to see.
I would have loved to see his.
And I just worry that King he's been. They're saying like over the years they said he's obviously very protective of his adaptations. He's almost to the point where he's very difficult to even work with.
Stephen King.
Yeah.
He's been protective
trust me.
of his adaptations because there's a lot of shit-ass Stephen King movies out there.
Trust me. When we get to his movies.
Okay.
He lets out his movies to studios, but if anybody wants to work with his IPs that aren't a movie that he'll get money from,
well, he was very good friends with George Romero.
Yeah.
They did Creepshow together.
I do like Stephen King. I think he's great. It's just he knows how to make his own money.
What could have been?
Creepshow was a horror anthology.
Creepshow was great as well.
If you haven't seen it, you know, I love the VHS franchise.
Oh, dude, I'm telling people still to this day to watch VHS. We wouldn't
have had that without Creepshow, without George Romero. This guy, he did what he did for the genre, what he did for movies. You know,
again, I think this movie here is the start of. You name your favorite movie, you're going to click it to this movie. No matter in some way, in some little tight little string, your movie is going to connect to Night of the Living Dead in some way.
Yeah, you're going to spot an influence there from this movie and your favorite movies for sure.
I think I'm out of notes, guys. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I have a question then. Do you think you could name a movie that's more influential than this movie? Is there a bigger horror movie, not even just a movie in general, a bigger horror movie that created something as big as this?
Movies? Okay, horror movies, I would say maybe on the same level. We said it earlier, The Exorcist.
Yes.
For possession movies.
I think I held them both up so
Halloween started slashing properly. I know there's other ones in and around. I think everybody...
I think Texas Chainsaw. I feel like Texas Chainsaw doesn't get enough of the
But that's why I think there's enough people that dislike Texas Chainsaw to the point where it's too slow or it's the complaints of blah blah. Halloween is the instant that there's the mask, you know the mask, you know what's happening.
Somebody will definitely be like, oh, well, actually, Black Christmas.
True. I'm just saying. Around it, but for me, I think Halloween is the one where if you say to somebody what's your favorite slasher movie, they'll say this, and then it's like, what's the first one you watched? It was probably Halloween.
Yeah. This movie is incredible. So we didn't discuss how we were going to do this podcast. We just are a bunch of mates who decided, hey, we love talking movies. Let's talk movies. Yeah. So we didn't come into this with an idea of a structure. We didn't even speak to each other about what we'd done. We just said, hey, we watched the movie, we made some notes.
Yeah. I for one, wrote my one down in a book where you two talked them down on your phone because I'm 60 years old.
He's an old man.
But I contributed.
I would love to keep doing this if you guys would love to. I picked this movie because this movie means the world to me, and I also think it's an incredibly influential movie, and I've loved how much we've all really just enjoyed talking about it and how excited we've been. I'm sure future movies, one of us will probably hate the movie we're talking about at least, right? Do you guys who wants to pick the next movie?
I kind of want Steve to go before me because
I can't follow up. I can't follow up Night of the Living Dead and The Shining.
If we do next, it's going to be The Shining, and it'll be me taking over. And The Shining, anybody that's going to watch this that's from my community as well, mainly, you're going to know this is a fucking obsession of mine. Yeah. Every single frame of the Shining is such an obsession of mine. I love it. It's so good.
Fantastic movie.
My favorite movie ever is 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh yeah,
great movie.
Classic.
We could definitely do that. I love that movie.
Kubrick. So I'm all for doing The Shining. You know.
Yeah.
That's another movie I watched. You know what? We'll save it for that.
Wait. I just want to say, right, this is also on to chat. If you guys are enjoying these things, this means we'll keep doing it, you know?
Absolutely.
You know, if you enjoy us talking about it, we'll keep doing it.
Bex is saying, chat, guys, let's do our plugs right now before everybody bounces. I stream on Twitch at the Spooky Memes. That's me, the Spooky Memes. It's all one word.
description.
Yes.
Hashtag Shut My Survivor.
I'm putting it there so when whoever listens over the audio.
I also have a YouTube channel, and if you like the zombie genre, me and my friend Krampus, we have Let's Played Resident Evil 0 through 8. So you can
we can't forget 0. Zero's
fucking 0. You can watch us play all those zombie movies over there.
Zombie movies? You're playing zombie movies?
Yeah.
You mean zombie games?
Games.
Zombie masterpieces.
We're going to stream after this. How am I going to speak? Yeah. I wrote my notes down, and I'm looking at the notes, and I'm like, oh my God, do I have enough here?
No joke. I had it written on the top of my notes. This is probably going to be an hour and a half. We're 2 hours.
Bex, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitch, BexFeaton7. I also have a YouTube. We don't do a lot there, but I'll be getting better at it now that I'm into a content grind with these guys and do my own thing as well. So it's BexFeaton7 as well. All good streams, all good vibes. Steve, your go.
Steve Knievel. Hard enough to spell, but if you get the pronunciation kind of down right, you'll find it. Stephen Knievel on YouTube. It's a dead channel, so I wouldn't go there. But Twitch, you'll catch me there.
Twitch
this summer. Yeah,
if you want to talk movies, come talk movies with us. We love it.
Yeah, any of us, like seriously, we'll absolutely just waffle on about movies. It'll be a good old time, and that's why I can't wait to get back into actually streaming these coming weeks. So
amazing. All right, so the Shining next time. Oh my gosh! Hello.
I'm okay with Mondays. Hello? Like I'm okay to like.
My computer just completely shut off.
Hello.
Are we still here?
Yeah, we're here. We're here.
Oh my God! Hello. Oh my goodness!
Oh no!
Stay with us.
Hopefully, you guys have been able to hear all of this. I think we just end there so I can check the recording.
Yeah, I think that's good.
All right, guys, it's been amazing. We do The Shining next time. Go watch The Shining in preparation. It'll be awesome, guys. I love you. It's been fantastic. Peace.
GGs.